first duet album, and he's in the middle of a huge international tour. And he's still going strong after 78 years. Please welcome Engelbert Humperdinck.
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, wow. 78. Wow.
I want to ask you about your name. Because when I started in the business, I thought shyness would be a problem for people, you know? Because I do, and I get it mixed up. But Engelbert Humperdinck is a mouthful. What's the story behind your name?
Well, the story is I was a struggling artist looking for a name, and then my first manager gave me this particular name. He gave three people names. He gave Gilbert O'Sullivan, Tom Jones, and myself. He created all the names.
Really?
Tom Jones isn't Tom Jones either?
It's not Tom Jones.
What's his real name?
Woodward.
Woodward?
Yeah.
And yours is?
Dorsey.
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 Yes, Dorsey.
But when he gave me Engelbert Humperdinck, I mean, I thought it was a group, and you know, but I couldn't imagine signing that name. And I've been teased so much with that particular name, you know,
sure.
Pumpernickel and Humpy Dumpy. As a matter of fact, Dean Martin never ever called me Engelbert or Eng. He always called me Humpy Dumpy, Lumpy Dumpy.
Well, there's a few names. Let's play a little game here and see if you know who they are. If you know, you can chime in. These are their real names, and let's see if you know who they are, their stage names. Doris Kappelhoff.
Oh, yeah. Doris Day.
There you go.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Stedlin Hardaway.
Don't know.
Anybody? Stevie Wonder.
Oh.
What?
Ralph Lifshitz.
No,
That sounds naughty.
Yes,
Yes,
it does.
That's Ralph Lauren.
There it is.
Oh,
Ralph Lauren.
Wow.
Ralph Lauren.
And
Is it?
Sherilyn Sarkeesian.
Who?
Sherilyn Sarkeesian.
Cher?
Yes,
There it is.
yes, yes,
Perfect.
yes,
Not
yes,
bad, right?
yes. I was telepathically telling you that. Yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the first. What was the first song that really put you into that iconic status?
I have to say, Release Me did that, you know, because, you know, I started in the business and I had many record companies and I had many singles put out, and they were all major, major flops. And then along came this song, Release Me. And I said to the guy who wasn't my manager, and I said, Gordon, I said, this is a hit song. It's absolutely a hit song. He said, let's find the lyric. I heard it with a musician playing it, and the melody was so great that I thought I must get it.
Yeah.
I got it, I heard it, I recorded it, and that was it. You know, but it didn't go in the charts immediately. It was 3 months sitting on the shelf. And then I did a show called The Sunday Night at the London Palladium. And the very next day, it started selling 80,000, 90,000 a day.
Well, not only did it
day.
sell, it also created a frenzy amongst the female sector of the audience.
Women went crazy. They went absolutely crazy. When you saw me, I cried over there. You know, but
yeah, it stopped the Beatles from having their 13th number one. Me, an unknown from Leicester, you know, in Leicester, England, stopped the Beatles having their 13th number one, and it was number one around the world, and it created a global career for me immediately, which was quite wonderful. It never happens. You know?
Well, I understand you had some really crazy female fans of yours, and I understand there was one experience of yours that really frightened you in a bus. You happened to get on a wrong bus one day?
We were traveling by bus, and I thought this was my bus, and I ran for it, and I jumped on it. It was full of ladies, and within seconds, I was stripped of my clothes.
Is that just awful?
Thank God I was wearing very strong underwear.
Oh my goodness!
I'm still failing. I'm failing here to see what the problem was. I mean, I don't get it.
I got pulled out. I got pulled out by my hair by the police. They pulled me out by my hair, put a coat over me, and threw me in the car. And
yeah, but
that's the problem right
there.
there.
But it was also traumatic for you because I don't know if anybody knows this. He's basically very shy.
I am.
Yeah, and that must have been very traumatic for you.
I am basically very shy. When I was very young, my dad used to say, when he was holding his parties, he would say, come on, my name was Arnold then. He said, Arnold, come on out here. I want you to sing a song for my guests. You know, I said, well, Dad, I'll sing if I could sing behind the door, under the table, behind the curtain. That's how shy I was. You know?
How did you muster up the courage, though, to audition for something and actually sing and then sing in front of hundreds of thousands of people?
Oh, well, I'm still shy to that extent, but when I auditioned and I found out that I had a voice, I'd had a glass of beer, and I was very young. I have 17 years, not supposed to drink, but I think that gave me a little courage, and I got up and I sang and got nice applause. And I thought, I don't get this playing. And I wanted to be a band leader, play the sax. But I thought, this is better than playing the sax. So I put the voice instrument in my throat. And
we're
thank
so
God I
glad you
did.
yeah.
Well, now let's fast forward 80 albums later. Your new album is out. There's some heavy hitters on this.
Very heavy hitters.
Yeah, like who? We got to Believe in John is on this with
Elton
you.
John. Elton John actually started the ball rolling, actually, because we were thinking, what am I going to do next? You know, and I heard this live album of him, and he says, I wrote the song when I was a struggling artist and waiting for, you know, living in a flat in London and waiting for an Engelbert Humperdinck to come along and take my song. Well, I didn't call him then, but I did call him all those couple of years ago. I said, Elton, would you join me on my duet album? He said yes. And once you've got Elton, I always say this, you've got the honeycomb, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've got Johnny Mathis is on this.
Johnny Mathis is one of my
Judd is
favorites.
on this as well. As I said, Olivia Newton-John, a couple of other ones. But
Gene Simmons.
Willie Nelson, one of my favorite singers in the whole world, and of course Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
You know,
Simmons, yeah.
Gene Simmons was.
What was that like? Because he's kind of like out of the box a little bit.
It's amazing. I tease him when I talk about him on stage. I said, you know, he was so much fun in the studio. He just had so much humor, and I couldn't move in the studio because his tongue was everywhere.
Sure.
by the way, does anybody know his real name? Gene Simmons' real name? Do you know what it is?
No.
It's Chaim Witz. Chaim
Witz? Oh, thank you.
Witz. I
Yeah.
had no idea that was the case.
He's a big guy.
Yeah,
He's
very
really big.
He's
He's
tall.
huge. And when he puts those boots on, he's really big.
But who would you say is the biggest influence? There's some big names there. Was there anybody that really came in and had an impact on your career?
I can honestly say Elvis was my biggest impact.
course.
You know, I think, you know, because when I first started, I was.
Oh, you did?
We were both in the army at the same time. He was stationed in Germany. I was stationed in Germany, and I didn't realize. I used to play his records in the canteen, and I didn't realize that many years later I would befriend this wonderful man, and you know, we'd be buddies. And
Look at you two. That's ridiculous. That's such a great photo.
And I know that another influence on you was the great Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole was my favorite, yeah. As a matter of fact, you know, his music influenced me to such an extent that I wanted to sing ballads, because he took a song and really caressed it, and his portrayal is so, he articulated very well, and you understand every word he said, you know. And besides that, there's a little romantic story attached to it. When I was courting in the early days when I was courting, I bought the first single of Nat King Cole for my girlfriend, and it was called When I Fall in Love. And that girlfriend happens to be my wife now.
Oh, 50 years.
Well, we are
oh,
going
50
to-
years, everybody.